Tonight I'll make you mine, the millionaire murmured. She fell for him after the wedding. Hello everyone. Before we begin today's story, I have a small favor to ask. Please hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our channel's new videos. It is quick, free, and the best way to support us in bringing you more dramatic stories. Your support means the world to us. Where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments below. Thank you very much. Now, let us return to the main character. She stands alone in a room that looks more like a five-star hotel suite than a bedroom. Floor-to-ceiling windows frame a skyline of glass and light. The carpet is thick beneath her bare feet, soft enough island wool that costs more than her monthly rent used to. On the dresser, a small white box sits unopened. Inside it, she knows, is the ring. Not a promise, not love, a clause. Her name is Elena Brooks, and tonight she is married to a man she barely knows. The door clicks softly behind her. No rush, no hesitation. The man who enters owns the silence the way other men own watches. Lucas Hale, 38, billionaire, chief executive officer of Hale Industries. His tuxedo jacket is already off, draped with careless precision over a chair. He loosens his tie once, like he is concluding a meeting, not a wedding. Elena does not turn around. She keeps her hands folded in front of her, fingers pressed tight, knuckles pale. She reminds herself to breathe, in through the nose, out through the mouth. This is only a role. That is what the contract said. That is what she told herself when she signed her name. Lucas stops a few feet behind her, close enough that she feels the warmth of him, steady and controlled. He does not touch her. He never does anything without intention. Tonight, he says quietly, his voice low and measured, I will make you mine. The words are not a threat, not exactly. They are a statement, a line item being checked off. Elena turns then, forcing her shoulders back, lifting her chin. She meets his eyes, dark, unreadable. The eyes of a man who negotiates nations and wins. For a split second, she wonders if he can see how fast her heart is beating, if he knows how much she is pretending. This marriage is a contract, she says, steadying her voice. Nothing more. Lucas studies her like he is assessing risk. Then he gives a faint, almost amused smile. Correct, he replies. And contracts are meant to be honored. He crosses the room and places a slim folder on the table between them. The contract. Her name printed neatly on every page. His signature bold and final. Time-limited, appearance-based, emotionally sterile. No feelings, no expectations, no mistakes. She signed because her father's medical bills were stacked higher than hope, because the bank had posted a notice on the door, because survival does not wait for love. Lucas reaches for the small white box and opens it. The diamond inside catches the light, sharp and flawless. He lifts it, not asking, simply waiting. Elena hesitates for half a second, then extends her hand. When the ring slides onto her finger, it feels heavier than it should. Remember, Lucas says calmly, releasing her hand. This changes nothing about who I am. Elena swallows. And who I am? She asks. His gaze lingers, just long enough to be unsettling. That, he says, is yet to be determined. Outside, the city hums on, unaware. Inside, a marriage begins without love, without warmth, without mercy. Elena tells herself she can endure this, that she can survive the role she agreed to play. She does not yet know that tonight is not the end of the contract. It is the beginning of everything neither of them planned. The morning light creeps in slowly, filtered through sheer curtains that cost more than Elena Brooks once earned in a year. For a moment, she forgets where she is. Then the quiet reminds her. This place does not hum like her old apartment. There is no traffic outside her window, no neighbor arguing through thin walls. Only silence, polished, controlled. She sits up in the bed, careful, as if the room itself might be watching. Last night plays back in fragments. The ring, the contract. Lucas Hale standing across from her like a judge who had already reached his verdict. Nothing inappropriate happened. No shouting, no touching. That somehow makes it heavier. The restraint, the implication. Power does not need to raise its voice. Elena swings her legs over the side of the bed and stands. The carpet absorbs her steps. She walks toward the window and looks out at the city below. Somewhere down there, people are rushing to jobs they hate, worrying about rent, checking their phones for bad news. She used to be one of them. Yesterday, she was still one of them. She presses her hand against the glass. The diamond on her finger catches the light again. She turns it inward, instinctively hiding it from the world. This marriage did not begin with dreams. It began with a phone call. 3 weeks ago, Elena had been sitting in a narrow hospital hallway, staring at a vending machine that only accepted cash. Her father was asleep behind a thin curtain, hooked to machines that beeped in steady rhythms. The doctor had used careful words, the kind that soften nothing. Surgery, recovery, bills, a lot of them. She remembered the envelope taped to her apartment door. Final notice. That was when Lucas Hale's assistant called. The offer was presented cleanly. No romance, no deception. A legal arrangement. A public wife for a private man. In exchange, her father's medical expenses would be covered, her debts erased, her future stabilized. Elena had asked one question. What happens if I say no? There had been a pause, then an honest answer. Then nothing changes for you. Nothing changing had felt like drowning. Back in the present, a soft knock sounds at the door. Elena turns. It opens without waiting for her answer. A woman steps inside, poised and professional, carrying a tablet. "Good morning, Mrs. Hale," she says, smiling politely. "I am Marianne. I will be assisting you." The title lands wrong. Mrs. Hale. Elena nods anyway. Marianne gestures toward the bathroom. "Breakfast will be served in 40 minutes. Mr. Hale has an early meeting. He asks that you be comfortable." Comfortable. Another word that means control. As Marianne leaves, Elena exhales slowly. This is the next phase, not the wedding, not the night, the performance. Downstairs, the house feels like a corporate headquarters disguised as a home. Clean lines, neutral colors, no personal photos, no warmth. Elena takes a seat at the long dining table alone. When Lucas enters, already dressed in a tailored suit, their eyes meet briefly. "Good morning," he says, neutral. "Good morning," she replies. They eat in silence. The distance between them feels deliberate. "There will be expectations," Lucas says finally, setting down his coffee. "Public events, appearances, questions." "I understand," Elena answers. He studies her for a moment. "If this becomes too much, you will say so." She almost laughs. Too much was yesterday. Too much was her entire life before this room. "I can handle it," she says instead. Lucas nods once, satisfied. "Good." As he stands to leave, Elena realizes something. This is not about being owned. Not yet. This is about being tested. About whether she will bend, whether she will break. She straightens her posture as he walks away. If this is a contract, she will honor it. But she will not disappear inside it. And somewhere deep inside her chest, a quiet, dangerous thought begins to form. If he believes this marriage gives him control, he is wrong about one thing. She did not survive everything she survived just to be invisible now. By the third day, Elena understands the rules of the house. They are not written on paper, but they are everywhere. Breakfast at 8 sharp, even if Lucas does not attend. Appearances matter, even in empty rooms. Staff members address her with respectful distance, never warmth, never curiosity. Every movement feels observed, not by people, but by expectation. The contract lives in her thoughts like a second spine. That afternoon, Lucas asks her to meet him in his study. The room smells faintly of leather and polished wood. Floor-to-ceiling shelves line the walls, filled with awards, framed headlines, and books that look more symbolic than read. Elena notices there are no family photos, no childhood memories, no trace of a life that existed before success. Lucas stands behind his desk, reviewing documents on a tablet. He gestures to the chair across from him without looking up. "Sit," he says calmly. Elena does. He slides a thin folder toward her. The same one from their wedding night. The contract. Tabs now mark specific pages. "We need clarity," Lucas says. "Clarity prevents misunderstandings." She opens the folder. Her name, his name, dates, terms. "This marriage has a duration," he continues. 2 years, renewable only by mutual agreement. Elena nods. She already knew this. Knowing does not make it lighter. Public conduct is non-negotiable, Lucas adds. Affection will be expected in public spaces, holding hands, eye contact, familiarity. And in private, she asks? He meets her gaze for the first time since she entered. In private, there are boundaries, he says. You will have your room. I will have mine. No entering without permission. Relief flickers through her before she can stop it. Lucas notices. You are not required to feel anything, he says evenly. Neither am I. He taps the page gently. There is one condition you must understand. Elena straightens. What is it? If this arrangement threatens my company, my reputation, or my control, he says, it ends. Immediately. Control. There it is. The real word. And me? She asks quietly. What threatens me? For a moment he does not answer. Then he says, you will be financially protected. Your father's care will continue. That is guaranteed. It is not comfort. It is leverage. Elena closes the folder. Then we are clear, she says. Lucas studies her expression as if searching for cracks. He does not find any. Good, he replies. Tomorrow night, we attend our first event as a married couple, the Westbridge Charity Gala. Her stomach tightens. Media? Yes. Questions? Of course. And if I say the wrong thing, she asks. Lucas's tone remains calm. Then I will correct it. She rises from the chair, refusing to feel small. I will not embarrass you. I know, he says. That certainty unsettles her more than doubt would have. That evening, Elena stands alone in her new bedroom, staring at her reflection in the mirror. The clothes hanging in her closet are tailored, elegant, expensive. None of them feel like hers. She touches the ring again. This contract protects her father. It saves her family. It gives her stability she never had. But it also places her inside a world built on image and silence. Downstairs, Lucas reviews briefing notes about her past, her education, her weaknesses. He reads them like data points. Upstairs, Elena practices her smile. Not the one she used at her old job, a new one. Controlled, polished, unreadable. Tomorrow, the world will see them as a perfect match. What no one will see is that this marriage is not about love. It is about power. And both of them believe they understand exactly who holds it. The gala arrives faster than Elena expects. By sunset, the house is alive with quiet motion. Stylists move in and out of her room with practiced efficiency. A makeup artist speaks softly, asking permission before every touch. A seamstress adjusts the hem of her dress by less than an inch. Everything is precise. Everything is controlled. The gown they choose is midnight blue. Simple, elegant, no excess. It fits her perfectly, as if it was designed for someone she has not yet become. Elena watches herself in the mirror as the final details come together. The woman staring back looks composed, confident, expensive. No one would guess she once counted coins at the grocery store. No one would guess she signed a marriage contract to save her father's life. When Lucas enters the room, the air shifts. He pauses at the doorway, just long enough to take her in. His expression does not change much, but something in his eyes tightens, sharpens, like focus. You look appropriate, he says. It is not a compliment. It is approval. Thank you, Elena replies. He steps closer, straightening the bracelet on her wrist with careful distance. No lingering touch, no warmth, just precision. Remember, Lucas says quietly, we arrive together. We stay together. We leave together. Elena nods. Understood. The car ride is silent. City lights blur past the windows. Elena folds her hands in her lap, feeling the weight of the ring, the weight of expectation. She reminds herself this is only one night, just another obligation. The Westbridge Charity Gala glows like a jewel box. Cameras flash the moment they step out of the car. Voices call Lucas's name, then hers. Elena Hale. The name still feels borrowed. Lucas places his hand lightly at the small of her back. The touch is brief, public, deliberate. A signal. Elena steps closer, matching his pace, lifting her chin as they walk inside. The room is filled with power. CEOs, politicians, donors who smile like predators. Conversations hum with money and influence. Elena feels eyes on her immediately, measuring, judging. She plays her role, She smiles when expected. She listens more than she speaks. When questions come, she answers calmly, politely, never too much. Lucas watches from the corner of his eye, correcting nothing. Then it happens. A woman approaches them, older, impeccably dressed, her smile sharp and curious. "Lucas," she says warmly, "I had no idea you would settle down so quickly." Her gaze slides to Elena. "And you are?" "Elena Hale," Elena says smoothly, extending her hand. The woman does not take it right away. "Of course you are," she replies. "Tell me, my dear, how does someone like you end up here?" The question is wrapped in silk, but the intent is clear. The air stills. Elena feels the room lean in, waiting. She could deflect. She could laugh. She could let Lucas speak. Instead, she meets the woman's eyes. "I earned my place the same way anyone does," Elena says evenly, "by showing up when it matters and honoring my commitments." A pause. The woman blinks, surprised. Then she smiles, thinner this time. "How refreshing." She moves on. Elena exhales slowly. She feels Lucas's hand return to her back, firmer now. "Well handled," he says under his breath. It is the first time his approval feels personal. Later, as the evening stretches on, a minor crisis unfolds. A donor pulls out last minute. A promised check vanishes. Murmurs ripple through the organizers. Elena watches the tension build, unnoticed. She steps forward quietly and speaks to the event coordinator, drawing on skills she never knew mattered. Negotiation, empathy, calm under pressure. Within minutes, the situation is contained. Another donor steps in. The evening continues. Lucas notices. On the balcony later, away from the noise, he turns to her. "You did not have to involve yourself." "I wanted to," Elena replies. He studies her in silence, something unreadable in his expression. "You exceeded expectations tonight," he says finally. Elena looks out over the city lights. "I am not here to embarrass you." "I am aware," Lucas says. What he does not say is that this was the first time someone stood beside him, not behind him, without being asked. As they rejoin the crowd, Elena feels it. Something has shifted. The contract still exists. The power imbalance remains. But for the first time, Lucas Hale is not just managing an asset. He is paying attention. And that, Elena realizes, is far more dangerous than indifference. The change does not announce itself. It settles in quietly, like a shift in temperature that Elena only notices when she realizes she is no longer cold. The days after the gala move differently. Lucas does not say much about that night, but small adjustments appear. He waits for her before leaving the house in the morning. He asks, once, if she slept well. When staff members address her, their tone carries more respect. Word has traveled. Elena understands this world well enough now to know what that means. One evening, nearly a week later, she finds Lucas in the kitchen. It is unexpected. He rarely enters this space himself. He stands at the counter, sleeves rolled up, staring at a coffee machine as if it has personally offended him. "It refuses to cooperate," he says when he notices her. Elena pauses, then steps closer. "You have to hold the button for 3 seconds," she explains. Lucas watches her hands as she demonstrates. The machine hums to life. "I usually have someone do it," he says. "I can tell," she replies before she can stop herself. The corner of his mouth lifts slightly. Not a smile, something close. They sit at the counter, coffee between them, the distance smaller than usual. Silence stretches, but it is no longer sharp. "You surprised a lot of people at the gala," Lucas says. Elena wraps her hands around the mug. "Including you." "Yes," he admits, "including me." She waits. He does not rush his words. "You did not behave like someone who was grateful to be there," he continues. "You behaved like someone who belonged." Elena looks at him. "I did not marry you to be small." Lucas holds her gaze. Something flickers behind his eyes. Recognition. Respect. That night, as she prepares for bed, Elena notices the door between their rooms open for the first time. Lucas stands there, not crossing the threshold. "I wanted to clarify something," he says. Her heart tightens, but she keeps her voice steady. "About the contract?" "About the boundaries," he replies. "They still stand. Nothing has changed." She nods. Relief and disappointment arrive together. "But," he adds, "if you ever feel uncomfortable or disrespected, you will tell me. Immediately." She studies him. Why? Because I expect honesty, he says, and because appearances only work if they are not built on fear. Elena inclines her head. Understood. He turns to leave, then stops. You handled yourself well, he says again, softer this time. The door closes. Lying in bed, Elena stares at the ceiling, aware of the unfamiliar tension in her chest. This is the dangerous part. Not the contract, not the power, the recognition. The next test comes sooner than expected. 2 days later, Lucas brings her to Hale Industries headquarters, a glass tower that cuts into the sky, sharp and unforgiving. Employees stop what they are doing when they pass. Whispers follow. In the executive boardroom, a meeting is already underway. Faces turn toward Elena with open curiosity, some with thinly veiled skepticism. This is my wife, Lucas says simply. She will be observing. The word observing matters, not decorative, not silent. Midway through the meeting, a senior executive makes a careless comment, a joke about optics, about how some decisions are better left to people with experience. Elena feels the implication land. She does not react immediately. She waits, then she speaks. With respect, she says evenly. Experience without adaptability is a liability. Markets change. People change. That is not a weakness. The room stills. The executive bristles. And you would know? Elena does not look away. Yes, because survival requires it. Lucas watches her closely. The conversation shifts. The point is not challenged again. After the meeting, as they walk toward the elevator, Lucas stops. You did not have to speak, he says. I know, Elena replies. Why did you? Because silence is agreement, she answers. And I do not agree. The elevator doors close. Lucas studies her reflection in the mirrored walls. You are not what I expected, he says. Elena meets his eyes. Neither are you. For the first time since the wedding, Lucas laughs quietly. A short sound, real. It surprises both of them. As the elevator descends, Elena understands something with startling clarity. This marriage was designed to be controlled, but control, she realizes, is already slipping. And if Lucas Hale is beginning to see her not as an obligation, not as an asset, but as an equal presence in his world, then the contract is no longer the most dangerous thing between them. It is what comes after. The night is quiet in a way Elena has never known before. Not empty, not lonely, just still. She stands on the balcony outside her room, wrapped in a light robe, the city spread beneath her like a constellation of distant promises. The air is cool, carrying the faint scent of rain and glass and height. She has learned that this building always smells like money and altitude. Behind her, a door opens softly. Elena does not turn right away. She already knows who it is. Lucas steps onto the balcony, stopping a few feet away. He does not invade her space. He never does. Tonight, he leans his forearms against the railing, staring out at the skyline, as if it might answer something he has not asked out loud. You do this when you cannot sleep, Elena says quietly. Lucas glances at her, surprised. You noticed. I notice patterns, she replies. Silence settles between them again, but it is different now, less guarded, more fragile. You challenged my board today, Lucas says at last. I spoke, Elena corrects. They challenged themselves. A pause. Then a breath he does not quite control. That room does not forgive mistakes, he says. It never has. Elena studies his profile, the sharp jaw, the controlled posture, the man the world sees. She hears something else beneath it now, not fear, pressure. Then why did you build your life around it, she asks. Lucas does not answer immediately. When he does, his voice is lower. Because it is predictable, he says. People behave when they want something. Elena nods slowly, and when they do not, they leave, he replies. The word lands heavier than he intends. Elena shifts closer to the railing, still keeping distance. Is that why you needed a contract, she asks? Because people are easier when the rules are written? Lucas turns to her then, really looks at her. You are asking questions you do not need answers to, he says. Then stop answering them, she replies gently. For a long moment, he says nothing. The city hums below them, indifferent. I was married once, Lucas says finally. Elena stills. It was not public, he continues, not announced. She wanted privacy. I wanted control. Neither of us understood what that meant yet. His hands tighten on the railing. When the company struggled, she left. Quietly. No warnings, just a note. Elena does not interrupt. She said she did not want to live inside my ambition anymore, he says. She said I never let anything be human. Elena exhales slowly. And you believed her? I believed the leaving, Lucas answers. The honesty in his voice is unguarded. It is the first time she hears him speak without strategy. That is when the contracts began, he says. Not just in business, everywhere. Elena looks at him, really looks at him, and understands something that shifts the ground beneath her feet. Lucas Hale does not fear losing control. He fears being abandoned once he lets it go. That is not why I am here, she says quietly. I know, he replies. That is what unsettles me. They stand there, side by side, the distance between them narrow but intact. He does not reach for her. She does not step closer. The restraint feels intentional now, not cold. Inside, a door closes somewhere down the hall. The sound echoes faintly. I will not cross boundaries, Lucas says, as if reaffirming something to himself. Not yours, not mine. Elena nods. Good. She hesitates, then adds, but do not confuse boundaries with walls. He considers that. Later that night, Elena lies awake in bed, her mind replaying his words, his past, his fear. She feels something unfamiliar settle in her chest, not love, understanding. In the room across the hall, Lucas sits alone in the dark, staring at a city he once believed he owned. For the first time in years, control does not feel like safety. It feels like distance. And distance, he is beginning to realize, is no longer what he wants. The warning comes without sound. Elena learns later that this is how most real damage begins. It is a normal morning. Too normal. She is halfway through breakfast when her phone vibrates once on the table. A message from an unknown number. No greeting, no explanation, just a photograph. The contract. Not the cover, not a summary. A clear image of the signature page. Her name. Lucas's name. The terms circled in red. Public marriage. Fixed duration. No emotional obligation. Her breath catches. Across the room, Lucas is already reading something on his tablet. She sees the change in his posture before he looks up. The tightening of his jaw. The stillness that follows bad news. They have it, he says. Who? Elena asks, though she already knows the answer is not simple. Someone who wants leverage, Lucas replies, and visibility. Another message arrives. A time, a place. The Hale Industries annual press luncheon. 3 hours from now. Elena's fingers curl around the edge of the table. They are going to expose us. They are going to test us, Lucas corrects. Exposure is only dangerous if we react. He stands, already moving into strategy. You will not attend. Elena looks up sharply. What? This is my problem, he says. I will handle it. No, she replies, standing as well. This is our problem. Lucas hesitates. The board is involved. So is the media. They will not be kind. They already are not, Elena says. Hiding will only confirm what they want people to believe. He studies her, calculating, protecting. I will not let them tear you apart, he says quietly. Elena steps closer. You cannot protect me by erasing me. The words land hard. For a moment, Lucas looks like he might argue. Then something shifts. He exhales slowly. Fine, he says, but you do not speak unless I signal you. Elena nods, though she does not promise herself she will obey. The luncheon is packed. Cameras, reporters, board members seated in careful rows, smiles stretched thin. The air vibrates with anticipation. Elena walks beside Lucas, her posture calm, her expression unreadable. She feels eyes on her immediately. Whispers ripple. The first question comes fast. Mr. Hale, can you comment on rumors regarding the nature of your marriage? Lucas does not miss a beat. There are no rumors worth addressing. A second voice cuts in. Is it true your marriage is governed by a legal contract? The room stills. Elena feels the tension snap tight. Lucas's gaze flicks to her for half a second. A signal. Wait. We live in a world governed by contracts, Lucas says evenly. That should not surprise anyone. A third reporter presses harder. Does your wife know she is part of a temporary arrangement? The question is not aimed at Lucas. It is aimed at her. Elena feels something inside her settle. Not fear, clarity. She steps forward. Yes, she says. The word echoes. Lucas turns sharply. Elena. She meets his eyes, steady. I know. She faces the room. I entered this marriage with full awareness. I am not deceived. I am not trapped. Murmurs spread. And yet, a board member interjects coldly, this raises questions about integrity. Elena nods once. It should. Integrity is exactly why I am standing here. Lucas watches her now, not controlling, not stopping her. I did not marry Lucas Hale for appearances, Elena continues. I married him because we made an agreement, openly, honestly, and without manipulation. A pause. If honesty is a crime, she adds, then perhaps the problem is not the contract. Silence. Then applause, scattered, growing. The moment does not last. Afterward, in a private corridor, Lucas confronts her. You disobeyed me, he says sharply. I protected us, she replies. You exposed yourself. I refuse to disappear. The words cut deeper than she intends. Lucas looks at her, anger and something else colliding. You should not have had to do that. Then you should have stood beside me sooner, Elena says quietly. The distance between them feels wider than it has in weeks. That night, Elena packs a small bag, not to leave forever, just enough to breathe. When Lucas finds her at the door, she does not look back. I need space, she says, from the contract, from the control. Elena, he begins. She shakes her head. This was never supposed to hurt, but it does. She leaves, and for the first time since the wedding, Lucas Hale stands alone, realizing that control did not protect him. It pushed her away. And that may be the cost he cannot afford. Lucas does not sleep that night. The house feels different without Elena. Too quiet, too large. Every room seems to echo with what she did not say when she walked out the door. He sits alone in his study, the city glowing through the windows, the contract lying open on the desk in front of him. For the first time since he drafted it, the pages look wrong. Not illegal, not dangerous, empty. He replays the luncheon again and again. The moment Elena stepped forward, the way she spoke without fear, the way the room shifted, not because of him, but because of her. He had built empires on control, but that day, the strongest thing in the room had been choice, and he had almost taken hers away. At dawn, Lucas makes a decision he has avoided for years. He calls an emergency board meeting, not to defend the contract, not to manage optics, to end it. The boardroom fills quickly, faces tense, questions unspoken. When Lucas enters, there is no preamble, no negotiation. He places the contract on the table. This document no longer exists, he says. A murmur ripples through the room. One director leans forward. You cannot be serious. This arrangement protects the company. No, Lucas replies calmly. It protected my fear. Another voice sharpens. You are risking shareholder confidence. Lucas meets their eyes, one by one. I am risking nothing that matters. He lifts the contract, and without hesitation, tears it in half. Then again, and again, until the pages fall onto the table like useless paper. Silence. My marriage is not a strategy, he continues, and my wife is not an asset. Anyone who cannot accept that can submit their resignation. No one speaks. Lucas turns and walks out. Across the city, Elena sits on the edge of a small guest bed in a quiet hotel, staring at her phone. She has ignored 3 missed calls already. When it rings again, she almost lets it go to voicemail. Almost. Elena, Lucas says when she answers. His voice is different, not controlled, not commanding. I need you to hear this from me. She closes her eyes. If this is about the contract, it is gone, he interrupts. Destroyed, publicly. Her breath catches. What? I ended it, he says, in front of the board. A pause stretches between them. You did not have to do that, she says carefully. I did, Lucas replies, because I was wrong. That word lands heavier than any apology. I treated safety like control, he continues, and I treated you like something I could manage instead of someone I needed to choose. Elena swallows. And now? Now, he says, I am asking, not as a husband by contract, not as a CEO. He hesitates, then finishes quietly. I am asking you to come back because you want to, or not at all. She does not answer right away. That evening, Lucas stands in the grand hall of the house they once shared, unsure for the first time where he stands. When the door opens, he turns. Elena steps inside. She does not rush. She does not smile. She looks at him like someone deciding something important. I am not coming back because you tore up paper, she says. I know, Lucas replies. I am coming back, she continues, because you finally stood beside me instead of in front of me. He nods, accepting the terms she never needed to write down. Lucas takes a small box from his pocket and sets it on the table between them. Inside is the ring, the same one. But this time, there is no contract beneath it. I am not asking you to stay forever, he says. I am asking you to stay tonight, and choose again tomorrow if you wish. Elena looks at the ring, then at him. For the first time, she says softly, that sounds like marriage. He does not put the ring on her finger. She does. And in that moment, both of them understand something that no document ever could. What makes something real is not ownership. It is consent. And for the first time, what stands between them is not power, but possibility. The house does not feel like a fortress anymore. Morning light fills the room softly now, not as a spotlight, but as an invitation. Elena wakes first, the weight of the night before settling gently in her chest. Not heavy, not overwhelming, just real. She walks barefoot into the kitchen, surprised to find Lucas already there, sleeves rolled up, reading the news on his tablet with a mug of coffee in hand. He looks up when he hears her. Good morning, he says. It is simple, unguarded. Good morning, she replies. There is no rush, no agenda. They stand together in the quiet, two people sharing space without contracts or conditions. When Lucas hands her a cup of coffee, their fingers brush briefly. Neither of them pulls away. Later that afternoon, Lucas drives Elena to the hospital. He parks, turns off the engine, and waits. I want to meet him, he says, if that is all right. Elena nods, emotion tightening her throat. He has been asking about you. Inside, her father looks smaller than Lucas expected, frail, sharp-eyed. When Lucas introduces himself, there is no performance, no corporate polish. Thank you, her father says simply, for taking care of my daughter. Lucas does not deflect. She takes care of herself, he replies. I am just learning how to keep up. Elena watches the exchange, understanding fully now what it means to be chosen, not rescued. Weeks pass. The media frenzy fades. The board settles. The world moves on, always hungry for the next spectacle. But inside the house, something steadier takes shape. Shared meals, late conversations, laughter that surprises them both. One evening, Lucas asks Elena to meet him on the rooftop. The city stretches out below them, familiar and new all at once. There are no cameras, no guests, no audience. Lucas stands in front of her, not towering, not distant, just present. This began as a mistake, he says, a transaction, a way to avoid fear. Elena listens. But it became the most honest thing in my life, he continues, because you did not let me hide behind control. He takes a breath. I am not asking you to stay because you owe me anything. I am asking because I love you. The word hangs there, unforced, unprotected. Elena steps closer. I fell in love with you when you stopped trying to own me, she says, when you chose to stand beside me. Lucas smiles then, fully, for the first time since she has known him. There is no new ring, no speech rehearsed for impact. Just two people deciding, again. They are married again quietly, weeks later, in a small ceremony on the rooftop. No contracts, no clauses, only vows spoken clearly, chosen freely. When night falls, they return to the bedroom that once felt like a negotiation table. This time, Lucas stops at the doorway. Tonight, he says softly, you choose. Elena takes his hand and pulls him inside. I already have. And in that moment, the words that once sounded like possession finally find their truth. Not ownership, not power, but love. Earned, chosen, and freely given. Because the real ending was never the wedding night. It was the moment they stopped pretending love could be written into a contract and started living it instead.